This is me. No, it's not. This is me. I was about 16, 17, maybe even 18 in these old clips a very long time ago, with my good friends Dan and Tom, and my name is Billy. So we had filmed ourselves a lot, with these like flip video cameras that we had. I'll put one on screen. And basically we were talking about the idea of deviance, which is kind of acting out of left field in some sense. So, for example, if somebody is teaching a class and they just decide to stand on the desk, that would be an example of deviance. It's unusual behavior, but that's kind of what we based our entire channel over. So for years I was making IRL content. I did have a gaming channel, which we'll get into later, but a lot of what I was doing was IRL content. And even before, like, we decided to go full on with the BDT Deviants moniker, B for Billy, D for Dan, T for Tom, and then eventually we added my my cousin Art into it as well. So we were doing things like that for a while, for like a good, I don't know how many years, but we were able to do 3 seasons and a couple parodies that, you know, they were something. I'll say that much. But we were able to just kind of film ourselves and share memories in a way. Like, there are definitely moments in there that haven't really aged well, but I think that's a good part of growing, is you get to watch some of the content that you made in the past that might be a little bit problematic, and you can just look at it now as like, wow, I've changed a lot. I've learned a lot since then, and I've been doing a lot of different things. Like, during the film, a lot of the filming of BDT Deviants, that's around, I was also starting to stream. So we started BDT Deviants in like 2011, like right in the beginning of it, and we always pretty much used that as an excuse to hang out all the time. It was good. It was good. It was great. You know, we were able to just kind of like balance school or college and just do that. You know, and you know, during this time too, I was still running a gaming channel that I had set up in like 2008. I wasn't doing like a ton with it, but I was able to rack up a little bit of an audience of 200 subscribers, which was kind of nice, until I did like the most devastating thing and completely pivot your content. So we weren't doing much gaming, and my cousin and I kind of transformed the old Roy's Video Game Center channel into a kind of pseudo anime review channel, which did well in its own right, but and shockingly, I didn't really lose any subscribers from that. It's just, there were definitely, like, people that weren't watching anymore, for sure, with such a pivot. But of course, I was a kid back then. I didn't really, like, I was just learning what it meant to be 18 and 19 years old, coming out of high school, and not really know what I was doing. But, eventually my gaming channel, that turned anime channel, eventually, once YouTube's, like, algorithm changed and started copywriting a bunch of stuff, basically, the Roy's video game channel just disappeared one day. It was gone. People still knew me online as Roy, or if they watched the BDT Deviant stuff, they knew my name. They knew my name was Billy already. But I kind of continued the whole Roy thing on Twitch when I started in probably... No, it was definitely... I started in the beginning of 2015, because this was like 6 months or so after I started speedrunning, where I was spending a lot of time learning and playing Sonic Adventure DX. I was playing the Xbox version, I think, because at the time, the only capture card I had was only able to do HD consoles. It wasn't able to do retro consoles, so I couldn't even play the GameCube version like I wanted. And then when I got involved in the community, I learned about, like, the PC disc port, and learning that was the fastest version. And eventually, I did switch to that by the time I started streaming. And that's kind of what I've ran ever since, until I stopped speedrunning altogether around, probably, like, mid-2025. So it was very recent. I speedran for 11 years. Along with, like, random casual content I was doing. Like, some of the earliest casual stuff I did was Bayonetta, the original Legend of Zelda on NES. I did Oracle of Seasons, I want to say. It was the one with the frogs. And I never remember if it was Seasons or Ages. And my cousin and I both played that on the, what is now the Matoi 44 channel. Not that you can find those VODs anymore. I think that was back when I recorded a bunch of them, so if I have clips of it, I will, like, show it as I'm talking here. I remember that Maple was a super bitch because we were trying to get heart pieces from her, and most of the time when we were able to get her to spawn, she would make sure the heart piece is, like, next to her, so we wouldn't even have a chance to, like, walk over and get it, essentially, no matter how fast we moved. But, other than those, like, playthroughs and the early speedrunning days, like, eventually I found myself, like, in the Sonic Adventure DX speedrunning community. We, at some point during 2014, a year prior, like, before I was doing, like, the Twitch thing under Roy's VGC at the time, Badlix and I started doing kind of, like, random things in Sonic Adventure 2, and that all kind of started because I had watched a very obscure run, like a set of very obscure runs, just one day, because what I used to do before I had, like, a good, like, because all I had back then was, like, a laptop, so before I had, like, a good desktop of my own, I basically was just watching streams off of my Xbox, my 360. And one of the first people I remember watching like kind of consistently was Fire Dragon. I found him when he was doing Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards speedruns. And that's what kind of gave me the motivation to try that myself. That was one of my first speed games other than Sadix. I just kind of decided, like, yeah, this actually looks really fun, and I really love this game. It's my favorite Kirby game. So I wanted to, you know, try and speedrun it. And around that same time, like, a month or two later, maybe, I found, like, all these different, like, Super Mario Sunshine runners. I was watching, like, 360 Chrism and Red Falcon. And then I stuck around for Red Falcon when he was doing Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. And then Chrism for all the Pokemon stuff. Because, you know, if you know anything about me, I love Pokemon. Pokemon has been a part of my life since I was 5 years old. I was watching, well, no, since I was 4, because I was watching the anime when I was 4 years old in 1997. And then when 1998 came around, for my birthday, I got a Game Boy. And, or no, it had to have been, I don't remember when the game released in February, that's right. So it was my birthday, because my birthday's in July. So for my birthday, I remember, because that year I must have been very much bugging my parents, like, as a silly little 4-year-old, because I probably was pointing out a bunch of kids in my neighborhood who had Game Boys who were playing Red and Blue. So eventually my parents did get me Red and Blue version on my birthday that year, and along with a Game Boy Color that I still have somewhere. I don't know where it is, so as a placeholder here, you can see my Game Boy Advance. It's peach colored. It was one of the first ones that they had in stock at our local Toys R Us. So I remember, because my dad was not very fond of the fact that it was peach colored, and I just kept telling him, I don't care. I never cared about that stuff. Like, look at me now. I'm non-binary. And, like, the color of things, like the genderification or whatever the fuck, the gender segregation, for lack of a better term, in terms of colors, that never mattered in my brain as a kid, as an adult. Never did. Like, yeah, it's just kind of, it was something I never really thought about as a kid. But in any case, I really, really liked Red and Blue, and with the assistance of my dad, we did get all 151 Pokemon between Red and Blue, but it was the Blue Pokedex that we really, really finished, and was able to go to the Game Freak building in Celadon City and get the diploma. I was able to beat all of Pokemon Stadium with my whatever team I had in Pokemon Blue. All I can really remember is that I had a Blastoise. I used my Charizard from Red. And of course I used Mewtwo because it was strong and just obliterated a lot. I distinctly remember that. I don't think I played Round 2 as a kid, because I don't think I was aware that Round 2 existed. Nor was I aware, like, somehow, nor was I aware of the Mewtwo battle. So once I beat Gym Leader Castle in all the stadiums, that was kind of it. Like, when the credits rolled, do the credits roll before Mewtwo? I don't know if they do. I don't remember if there was a credits roll or not. But in any case, once we beat Master Ball Tier in Prime Cup, that was kind of the end of that until I played Stadium 2 and Gold, Silver, and Crystal. When Pokemon Gold came out, I fell in love with that game. I probably racked like a good 80 hours into it. I was very obsessed with Gen 2. And then when Crystal came out, I put nearly as much time into it as I did for Gold. And it was a great time. It was times that things were simpler for sure. But I remember a lot of my memories then were like battling and trading with with some of the BDT crew, funny enough. But also just I had other friends in the neighborhood, and you know, don't know what they're doing in life now, but I do hope they are well. But in any case, the reason I mention all this stuff was because it really was the driving force for my gaming channel, and then me streaming on Twitch, because I think when I eventually, like, things got complicated from, like, 2016, 2017, 2018, and then 2019 is when I made, like, a big comeback. And I started that comeback with, the release of Team Sonic Racing. And that is kind of... It's funny because that's kind of what put me back on the map in some spaces, because I was like the only person streaming it. Everybody else was streaming the Crash Team Racing remake, Nitro Fueled, which is a great game. Like, I would argue it's better than Team Sonic Racing, despite the fact that I love that game. Cross Worlds is just amazing. It's peak, I fear. But yeah, that I was streaming a lot of Team Sonic Racing, and eventually I brought in my old speedrunning habits. So I was doing a lot of Sonic Adventure DX. I made it a point to learn every single story individually, and also do the all stories run. So, you know, I was doing all those things for a while, while also splicing in like newer things. Like when September came around, for instance, that is when I started a segment called Supersonic September, which started in 2019, and I think I had the last one that I did, like, it wasn't meant to be a big like finale to it, but it was in 2025. No, it wasn't. I'm lying. It was in 2024 was the last one, which basically was the 5th iteration of it. So in a way it was kind of perfect, but unfortunately at that time, my mental health was kind of at its worst. And that's kind of when I did like a lot of fucked up things. I treated a couple of my friends like complete garbage, and they never deserved that. Just because I was going through something didn't mean that they needed to deal with me being an ass. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. So throughout, like, you can even see in clips, like, throughout the last Supersonic September, it started out really well, but like halfway through the month, I was just getting so pissy and just so angry at mundane things, all things considered. Like, it's one thing to be angry at the game in a silly way, it's another to be legitimately mad. And that's something I've always prided myself in never really being, because at the end of the day, it's a video game, there's no point. And given, when it comes to speedrunning, it's a little bit different. Like, sure. Because that's something you practice. It's something that you're competitively practicing against your own times. So you do feel a little bit mad, a little angry, a little disappointed even, when you've practiced this thing for a while, and then you finally stream a run, everything's going great, and then you screw up this thing 4 times in a row. So that's a little bit different. But when it comes to just casually playing the game, I will allow myself to get frustrated, but actually mad, it seems a little overboard to me. So, you know, I have liked to think that I've grown since then quite a bit. Like, I know if things do get overwhelming for me, I think I've done a very good job now, offline, of just not continuing to throw my head at the wall. Because that's something that I was really bad at doing. And, you know, back then, when I was treating all my good friends like shit, I think what one of them said to me really stuck with me. Like, you know, I distinctly remember, like, Risu pulling me aside, and she was just like, look, I think you need to give yourself breaks. Like, everything that Lightning and I have talked about, I think you really need to not burn yourself out every September and bottle all this stuff up. Because they were right. Like, I was kind of, for the sake of the show, so to speak, I was kind of sacrificing my mental health to just make sure everything went as perfect as possible every single Supersonic September. So I think consistently I was, like, I don't know if I was treating everybody like garbage consistently every year around that time. I hope not. But I definitely was then, for sure. Like, and that unfortunately rubbed off on stream a lot in 2024. So, you know, that's when, you know, the cryptic message and everything on Blue Sky, and then I've kind of, I mean, I've been on medication since that November, so things have, like, softened as far as all the really heavy, extreme stuff. So there's at least that, and it's nice to know that even when you're feeling like you're at rock bottom, you can still succeed in a way. Not that I'm doing, like, amazing right now. I still don't have any form of income. I have been trying my ass off for disability still. But admittedly, I could be trying a little bit harder. I'm just depressed. I'm very depressed, and it's hard. But I recognize those things. And every single day, I am trying to find ways to motivate myself, to vent about the things that I need to vent about. I'm still in therapy, and, you know, we just kind of do as we do. I'm 33 years old now, and I don't really want to stop trying. Like, yeah, there are some days where I really do feel like it would be easier to just give up. But I don't think I have the capacity to stop trying. Because it's not just for me anymore, but recently my niece was born, and I'm going to be a really big part of her life. And in order for me to do that, I need to be here. And I need to just continue trying. That's really all I can do. So after I made the comeback in 2019, I started doing all that Supersonic September events. There were other passions that I was sharing with my community. Like, not a lot of them were into Pokemon. And then I started getting more people that were into Pokemon into my chat once I started doing the Nuzlockes I wanted to do. I did a Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke. I did Silver. I did Emerald. And I promised Gen 4 a while ago, but I hadn't actually really at the time played Gen 4 a lot. I remember I wasn't really satisfied with it, and I was very disappointed in it when I was younger. I played Diamond, I got to like the 3rd gym, I beat the 3rd gym leader, and then I just felt like I'm not having fun. This game is slow, it's weird, like, I don't know what about it I didn't like at the time, but I just did not like it. And then, eventually, I played Diamond on stream, and I was okay. Like, I think story-wise it's fantastic, but everything in Gen 4 was very slow. And I think that was just something that, like, coming off of Gen 1, 2, and 3, which is wild to say, because even Gen 1 is slow, but I think I timed it at one time, just how slow Gen 4 was, and it was, like, driving me nuts. And then I played Platinum on stream, and, like, not everything changed, but there was a lot that changed in my mind that day, when I finished Platinum. Because I have such a big appreciation for every single generation now. Platinum is definitely one of the pinnacles, one of the peaks of Pokemon when it still used sprite art, for sure. Like, my favorite game is still Black and White 2. My second favorite is Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Platinum, honestly, it is tough to put it above or below Emerald. I love Emerald so much. Honestly, it's in terms of sprite-based games, it's probably at the end of top 5 for me. Because I love Emerald, but I also love Pokemon Crystal. Nothing can take away my love for that. It's only a little less now because Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, and I thought those were like perfect remakes in every sense of the word. And yeah, I just loved Platinum. And my love for Pokemon hasn't really stopped. Like, sure, there are things that I wish were a little bit different in some games. I wasn't really ever affected by the whole Pokedex, like, debacle when Sword and Shield came out. Like, yeah, I was a little sad about it, but when Pokemon Home exists, I wasn't really, like, that... I can't say I was that, like, upset by it. Because I still had a space that I can put all my Pokemon if I really wanted to. Because by the time that, like, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out, I almost had a full National Dex. So, by that point, I was kind of like, okay, well, like, I have a lot that can go in the Sword and Shield, and a lot of these mons have kind of just been sitting at home anyway. So... and outside of, like, Pokemon and Sonic, I found myself streaming a lot of my favorite games, like Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario 64, you know, a lot more Pokemon. I think I played Pokemon Sword and Shield on release with Badlex. We did a whole collaboration thing. We did the same thing for, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl when that came out, but we didn't get very far. But we still had a good time, you know, we had a great time, like, doing that still, and outside of those, like, you know, I put a lot of time into Legends Arceus when that came out. I put a lot of time into Legends ZA and Scarlet and Violet, much to my own dismay, but, you know, I still love those games despite their flaws. I can't lie. Pokemon at the end of the day is just something that I love. And it always becomes a topic in my stream because if it isn't Pokemon, it's Sonic. And if it isn't those, it's Banjo. And if it isn't that, it's Kingdom Hearts. Which I did do a Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer on my stream once. But I never did, like, do a whole series thing, which is unfortunate because it's another series that I hold super close to my heart. And, you know, with the recent news of, at the time of recording this, with the very, very recent news of Kyrie's original voice actor passing away, it, you know, it still hurts a lot. I don't think I felt a celebrity death, like, hit me quite this bad since Chester Bennington. Like, yes, Billy Comets was really sad as well. I love JoJo. Chester was very close to my heart. I listened to Linkin Park my entire life. And, you know, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts for a long time. A lot of the characters I like. And I've played so much Kingdom Hearts 2, so I've heard so much of Hayden's Kairi. Like, over and over again. And I remember hearing her Shion even in Dream Drop Distance. She didn't voice her in 358, that was Alison Stoner, but she did voice her in Dream Drop, and I thought it was just cool to hear her as Shion. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about it before I cry again. But yeah, throughout the years, like, I've made a lot of friends in the Twitch community, but either by streaming or being involved in different streams. Like, I involved myself in the Sonic speedrunning community so much, I made a good amount of friends in there. I watched a lot of, like, people in the Pokemon space, and I didn't make, like, as much friends in that community. I was a little shy on that regard. But, you know, who knows? I might come out of my shell a bit. I'm older now. I'm 33. So I guess that's something that's on the table. But otherwise, like, yeah, if it weren't for just falling off so hard in 2014 by my own hand, like, and just treating everybody like garbage, then I think we probably would have continued going strong in a sense. I probably would have been a little less depressed, I can say, for sure. Probably even now. But I think that is what the last September is going to be all about. Because even if, like, we decided to do more by the time it ends, I think it's still an important title, because this is kind of my last ditch effort to see if anybody still cares. And if the month goes well, I would love to continue, because I love streaming. I love, like, not feeling alone. I love sharing the games that I love with, you know, people from all around the world. So it's just one of those things where I haven't really, like, sat and thought about it until now. I just kind of put my mic in front of me and hit record. I've tried scripting this video like 6, 8, 10 times. I don't know. Oh, it's been over a few years that I've tried to just build a video of the rise and fall, and I could never really, like, write exactly what I wanted. So this is just off the cuff. I'm not reading a script or anything. But where to go from here? I think now the only thing I would really like to do is just make sure that the last September as memorable as we can possibly make it. Because at the end of the day, what matters is that you're happy, and I'm happy. Wherever you are in the world, have a good day or night, and I will see you in September. Have a good day, and don't lose your way.